I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Friends, fellows, today we're here to review Graham Coxon's latest solo album, A+E. Now, there's something about Graham Coxon you gotta know. This guy loves him. So Tom, who's Graham Coxon and what does he have to bring to the world of music?
Well, he was the guitarist for Blur, which is one of my favorite bands. I know Jake really likes him too.
I like Blur.
We're both big Blur fans.
Tom got me into Blur.
Yeah, now Graham Coxon being kind of the quiet one of the group, kind of the more out there one. He was really a big part of Blur shifting sounds in the late '90s to more of the really kind of lo-fi, noisy,
self-titled.
Yeah, self-titled. Blur 13 also is another album kind of like that. He was very influenced by artists like Steve Malkmus and you know, from Pavement, you know, that kind of American lo-fi indie sound. And he really takes that into his guitar style, but with more of that British pop appeal.
Right.
And really that shines through in most of his solo work. This is something like his 7th or 8th album. I mean, he's had a lot, starting from the late 90s, some overlap from when Blur was still doing stuff together. But what's really interesting about A&E or A+E, I'm not really sure, you know, whatever, about this album is that it's really different from anything he's ever done. If you check out albums of his like Happiness in Magazines and Love Travels at Illegal Speeds, they're both good albums. They feature more poppy songwriting, you know, still very guitar-centered because Graham is just a guitar wizard. He's great. But the sound, it sounds more like stuff that you'd hear on like Blur's album Modern Life is Rubbish. It's just got that British pop appeal. Or maybe like kind of Elvis Costello, you know? I mean, the guy even kind of looks like Elvis Costello. He's got the glasses and everything. But this album just came out of nowhere for me because it's so much darker, so much dirtier. The production is just like, I mean, he goes from that kind of pop sound to more of like a post-punk, like kind of Joy Division, Wire, Bauhaus. Those bands is how these songs are presented.
It's a crazy mix of like punk, Britrock, rock, grunge. It's all just mixed together in this amalgamation that's just this really dirty, aggressive song. Unabashedly aggressive.
Yes. But what really hooks me about this album is that all the songs are good. And they all accomplish something completely different from each other. They're good in their own ways. But really, you know, I had an interesting experience with this album. I listened to it a lot because it was very hard for me to wrap my head around. Here's what happened. First, like 2 or 3 listens, I was just trying to understand the mood of it. Because the mood is so strange. It's like, it's sinister almost, but it's also kind of friendly and jovial. The analogy I would use, which is kind of strange, another VIMTV analogy, but if you've ever seen the TV show Dexter, it's a show about a guy who's like, his job is kind of to be like a detective forensics guy to help catch serial killers, but then he's a serial killer himself, but he just kills the bad people. He's like a serial killer, and he's just like this mastermind, and it's kind of creepy because it's like, you know, he's doing good, but he's also killing people. So how do you ride that line between being a good guy and a bad guy? Somehow, that's exactly what this album makes me think of. It's like you're hanging out with Graham Coxon, and you know he could totally kill you at any moment, but he's not going to. He's just going to hang out and be a chill dude, but you just get this creepy vibe from him. And so that was hard for me to get past, but I ended up loving it because it's such a unique take on music. I don't get that feeling for much these days. And especially to be able to do that and maintain memorable songs with great hooks, great melodies, both in the guitar and vocals, which actually the vocals play a very interesting role in this album because, sorry, I'm just going and going.
Man, keep going.
Jake's like, geez, Tom's on a roll. The vocals play a very odd role because they're one of the best aspects of the album, but they're so low in the mix, and he doesn't always do a lot with the lyrics. There's lots of repetition in songs like What'll It Take and Meat and Drink and Pollinate. very repetitive in the lyrics. I mean, if you put those lyrics on paper, they wouldn't take up very much space. Right. But they play such a crucial role, and they're in the mix so well that it just adds to that persona.
They give such a dynamic imagery to them. And while the lyrics may not be the deepest lyrics you've ever heard, or poetic in any sense of or form, that's not exactly what lyrics are supposed to do. This really bothers me with music. Lyrics are supposed to be functional. They're supposed to apply to the music. Otherwise, you're just go read prose. You know.
Yeah.
This and Graham Coxon's lyrics on A+E really are effective in that they really just help make you listen. They're quirky enough that they force you to want to listen to the vocals more, and that's where, to play off kind of where Tom was taking that creepy vibe, that Dexter's kind of you want to love this crazy guy who could kill you at any moment feeling, is because Graham Coxon sounds bloody insane. He sounds insane on this album, and really. It's all about his vocal edge. He does not hold back whatsoever in the vocal department. He is belting it. He sounds crazy, and he's just slurring these just crazy lyrics that are super intriguing, and it just adds this level of authenticity to the already just bombastic, aggressive sound.
For such a dark turn in his sound, he does it with such confidence that you just have to admire it. You have to get behind it. This is one of the most alluring albums. I could not stop listening to it. It's just so engaging.
And Tom, I'm right there with you. The instrumentation on this album is just exceptional. You expect good guitar work from Graham Coxon, but what kind of surprised me was just the overwhelmingly good bass. The bass hauls ass on this record, and it's nonstop. It's distorted. It helps fill out the sound so well. There are just, I can't get these tracks out of my head. When I'm not listening to this album, I want to be listening to this album. This is just hands down one of the best records I've heard this year.
I totally agree.
And not to just go on and on about it, but the other one really good thing I think that Graham Coxon presents here is that he also gives a good variety. You get more punk tracks, you get heavier rock tracks, more Blur-like tracks, and you get some softer tracks too. It's just a great variety. It's a fluid listen. It's all really good. I agree with Tom. Every single track on this album is strong. Picking tracks on this album is really tough to do because they're all exceptional. And that when you have an album that's just this high of quality on every track, it's a good album. You gotta go check this out. And this one's not getting the buzz that I wish it was.
Yeah, I agree.
This is something that, if you're into just only what's popular at the time, you might miss this one. So hopefully you check out our review. You say, hey, yeah, these guys love it, and you go out and get it. So you can definitely check this out if you want to just give it a whirl. It's on Spotify. Let us know what you think. I'm sitting at a 90 on this one.
I'm going 91. I loved it.
We love this album. It's I think it's going to be the second highest so far in 2012 for us. So definitely on our love list. Go out and check it out. We want to know what you guys think. Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Also, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. That's where we talk with you, and that's where we build this relationship that is so important to maintaining what VIMTV is, which is a music learning website. We learn from you, and you learn from us, and we reciprocate that, and it just makes us all so much happier in this wonderful world full, just overflowing with so much music. Good music, too. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.